Okay, I'd like to call to order the Lopatcong Township regular meeting for January 15, 2025. Please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Ledger, the Express Times, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please, Beth.
Yes, Councilman Belcaro,
Here.
Councilman Marinelli, Councilman McQuaid,
Here.
Council President Polito,
Here.
Mayor Wright.
Here. Wade, could you summarize the executive session, please?
Yep, the Township Council met in executive session where it discussed the following privilege matters: personnel, employee manual, attorney-client privilege, LEE announcement, entry-level law enforcement, and contractual pilot agreement with the Cubes. Minutes from the executive session will be released at such time as the council deems no public harm will come from it, and no official action was taken.
Okay. All right, we have a presentation by Mike Matthews for mixed-use development on 1179 US Highway 22. And it'll be a little more in-depth. It's right between BP gas station and the Warren County collision, correct?
Yes.
It's all yours, Mike.
Hello, I'm Mike Matthews. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I own the Greenhouse Dispensary, and this presentation is meant to go over opening a cannabis dispensary in Lopat. So we put this binder together just so you could visualize it a little bit, and I can just go through it with you now. So we can jump to page 2. Basically, we want to go over our Greenhouse Dispensary team, an overview of legal cannabis in New Jersey, some common considerations in the business, and then also an example location, the site we picked out and we purchased. So, again, I'm Mike Matthews. I grew up in Easton, PA. I went to Penn State, traveled out west. I was in the marijuana and cannabis field out in California for a little bit. And I came back to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And right now I run a retail chain of CBD stores called Nurse Wellness. We sell mushrooms, spices, herbs, all types of medicinal medicine that isn't, you don't get it at ShopRite. So we have 8 locations. One's in Main Street in Bethlehem. We have a store in Old City in Philadelphia, and then a few in Cherry Hill in New Jersey. Again, I've owned several businesses and started them from the ground up. So I feel like this is right in my wheelhouse to do something like this here. I have Michael Belko here. He's the director of operations for Nurse. He does all of our daily operations, also does a lot of budgeting, forecasting, hiring, firing, basically helps me run the whole show, and he'll be an integral part of the Greenhouse Dispensary, as will a few of my Sophie, Heather, Ricardo, Brian, Aaron, a few of our other Nurse Wellness team members. Will be also making the jump to Greenhouse to open a cannabis dispensary. So follow me to page 4. We have a bunch of advisors that help our team make sure we're compliant and doing everything to the best of our ability. Sarah Powell is here from Florio Perucci. They are our head legal counsel. We also have Archer and Griner retained, but they are more for our Cherry Hill operations with the Nurse Wellness. We also have a Longview strategic company they help us with our licensing and planning. It's more just paperwork with the CRC. And then we have an accounting and consulting firm that we work with that helps us figure out if we want to get into a location, develop property, develop a budget for it, get funding. So we have a great team that surrounds our team to make sure we're legal, compliant, well-funded, and the operation is successful. If you jump ahead to page 5, just to kind of go over the different types of licenses that you can get. In New Jersey right now, you can get a cultivation license, that means to grow. Manufacturer license, you're manufacturing the product. Wholesale and distribution would be delivering that manufactured product to the retail location for the retail sale to the consumer. We are in that sector. We would be considered retail, and we would sell directly to the consumer in Lopat. There is an additional license to get a delivery option in that, and we can, discuss that. Please ask any questions as we go or at the end, and one of us will have an answer. So, moving on to slide 6 here. Long story short, we got approved for a conditional license by the Cannabis Regulatory Committee, CRC, and in New Jersey, and now we are looking for municipal approval to move forward and convert that license into actually opening. So we need 4 things. The first thing is site control. We have that with the property we purchased on Route 22, 1179, Route 22. We also need to have operating plans and procedures, financial plans and procedures, and again, that goes back to working with Florio and our team of advisors to make sure that all those plans and procedures are there, compliant, and we can execute them at a high level. And then municipal approval, which is why we're here. We do need a township to believe in us and give us the opportunity to open, and that's why we're here today. We're hoping that you guys would consider us opening a cannabis business in Lopat. Jumping ahead to slide 7 here, just to give you guys some background, compared to the medical cannabis industry, it's very similar. When you go into a place, you are ID'd. Everything is 21 and older. ID verification, child-resistant packaging. Everything is actually made and it's cultivated and manufactured in New Jersey. So all the products we would be selling in our dispensary would be coming from New Jersey. And one of the things that I really like about the way New Jersey does it is there's a one-on-one educational experience. So when a customer comes in, they're not just, it's not a free-for-all. They're not just wandering an aisle, getting the wrong product. They're actually able to talk to a specialist and figure out what product's good for them, because there's a lot of confusion around this. If you go into a dispensary, there's a million products and you want somebody navigating the way. So they offer a one-on-one concierge service, so each person gets that individual attention, and really the hopes is to get the right product. So that's a huge one, the one-on-one experience. And then they have software to track everything from sales, inventory. Another thing I want to say too is it's a very discreet operation. So when you order something online or you go in and you purchase it in the store, you're getting it in a child-resistant packaging, and it's very discreet, and you're not able to consume it on property. It's in and out. There's no consumption lounge or any area to kind of for there to be any sort of nuisance. You go in, you get your product, you go out, get in your car, and keep going. There's not a lounge, any sort of way to use or consume the product on the site. So that was what I was trying to get at there. If we want to jump ahead to slide 8, just a little bit of a refresher. So cannabis flower is what you would smoke. You would consume it in inhalation. On the next page is pre-rolls. So they also come pre-packaged. And there's also ingestibles. So ingestibles and edibles, that's anything that you're consuming. Right now there is a a total of 10 milligrams per gummy or per ingestible and 100 milligrams per package. So ingestibles are a healthy alternative to smoking. On the next page, we have vaporizer cartridges and disposable vapes. They are filled with concentrate, and then dispensaries also sell loose concentrate to use as well. So those are the different forms that would be sold. Could be a little easier. So getting to security. We are working with Florio to talk to different security firms. We did not choose one yet, but we've talked to a few. We're not actually at the stage where we need to choose one, but we wanted you guys to know that we're going to work with a reputable company that our legal team advises us to take. We want them to work with the police locally and at a state level to make sure we're complying with everything. We're reporting everything. We want to work directly with the local and state police to make sure that we're doing everything right. And again, like I wrote in here, touring the property, any type of feedback or anything you guys wanted to see, I think that we could easily work with you. And we just want to kind of go above and beyond in this area. On the left side of this slide here, we got a bunch of, alarms, cameras, cybersecurity, but really there's a lot more that goes into it. It's a whole security plan, and we would, again, want to go above and beyond with the security, and then if anything, scale it back. So I don't foresee that being an issue at all here. If we move on to the next slide, slide 12, that just gives you guys an idea of how much sales there actually are. So in 2022, when recreational marijuana became legal in New Jersey, there was 328 million sold. 2023, 675. 2024, 722. So it kind of jumped from 22 to 23, but we think that there's going to be a steady increase as there's more manufacturing, there's going to be more product available, which is going to lower the cost, and I think people are going to stop buying from the black market. I think New Jersey's going to do it. I was out in Las Vegas and California when they legalized it, and there was a lot of supply-demand issue, which I think New Jersey's going to do a better job of. But I think that combined with just new users coming into the space, this is kind of like the end of prohibition for marijuana in a way. So we do anticipate that will continue to climb, and don't see any reason why it wouldn't. The other part on the right side of that slide, I was living down in Cherry Hill where it's saturated with dispensaries. Up here in Warren County, we are not saturated, and it seems like this would be a great place to put a dispensary. Besides all the other great factors, there's not a lot of saturation up here. Moving forward to slide 13 here, community impact and engagement. So basically, the economic impact is there are sales tax, and then there's also a transfer tax that can be imposed by the township of up to 2% on every sale, and that's very strong. And besides that, we plan to hire complete all local. We want to bring jobs, and not only jobs, careers to this township. And then we are big on giving back with our current business, and just talking here about like community programming. We would be open to not only donating and working with different charities and sponsorships and stuff, but we just want to maximize the benefits. So we would be willing to listen to everybody and make and really maximize the benefits of giving back to the community, but really hire local, the transfer tax, and then all types of community programming. Just to give you guys an example, everywhere we're in, Right now with our nurse stores, we are big supporters of the police. We donate to all sorts of libraries and different causes. So I'm not trying to just toot my own horn here, but this business is going to be community based and word of mouth. So that's just a big part of what we like to do. We give back to the community. And then, Sarah, I can, if you don't mind jumping in to kind of go over the zoning and different things like that, because you guys would be in control of where you're putting it, where you're putting these dispensaries, how many there were, different zoning and stuff. So you could, yeah.
My name is Sarah Powell. I'm an attorney at Floria Perucci. Probably half of my practice is cannabis law. So I wanted to just go over some basic considerations because we know that the purpose here is to ask you to amend the ordinance to permit cannabis businesses. That's the first step. That's what we would be asking you. And we are very familiar with some of the local concerns, some top considerations in designing a zoning ordinance and imposing certain limitations on the operations of cannabis businesses. So I kind of wanted to run through some of those considerations that might be at the top of your head. And the number one item is distances to sensitive locations, parks, schools, child care facilities, as well as churches. Many municipalities do impose distance requirements. Not saying that it's essential, but if that is something that the township decides to do, we wanted to show you that this property is ideal for that. It's right along Route 22. If you go to page 15 on the presentation, you can see that the nearest park is almost a mile away. The nearest school is almost a mile away, and then the nearest church is also a mile away. Page 16 just kind of runs through some of the renderings of the facility. Skipping ahead to page 17, this really shows the location of the parcel that we're proposing to operate this business. And you will see that it's right along US 22, which is great for traffic. It's easily accessible, and it's really just an ideal location. And not only that, the zoning, it's a good location for zoning. So if the township decides to limit cannabis businesses to certain zones, we would say that the HB zone is an ideal zone. It's right along 22, and like I said, it's not adjacent to residential communities at this location. And you can see that on page 19. Now, my primary concern, Mike already touched on it, is just to outline the process, right? What are the steps? So if you look at page 20, where they have a conditional class 5 license. That means they still, as Mike mentioned, need your approvals, right? They need a resolution of support. They need zoning compliance letters. So we are, as much work as they've put into this already, there's still a ways to go. We need to get those municipal approvals, and we would be seeking those from you should the ordinance be amended to permit cannabis businesses to operate here. That chart, I just kind of walked on the left side, is that process. So we are at the very top. They have their conditional license. They have their approval from the CRC, as Mike mentioned, and then they come to you and they say, we need a resolution of support saying, we support you locating at this location and that zoning is compliant. Once they get that, they apply for an annual license. And that's the submission of the SOPs, the operating procedures, as well as submitting the proof of site control and the municipal approvals. Once they receive their annual license, they still have to become operational. They still have to go through the municipal process. So they would undergo, whatever site plan approvals they would need from the township. So that's the chart on the right side. That's all I had. Did you want to?
Thank you again for taking the time to listen to us, and we can answer any questions or.
How many square feet is the building you're proposing?
Again, that's up to you guys. The one in the rendering there is about 5,000. So if I had to guess, about 3,500 to 5,000 square feet. You don't really need a bigger building than that. That allows for the right flow of registers and everything. I have it in my head, I wish I could draw it out, but yeah,
Right.
5,000 square feet is what you need.
So this is going to be manufacturing and retail? Or
No,
retail?
just retail.
Just retail.
Yep.
How about parking, Mike?
So the site we have, and my buddy Aaron could probably chime in here if he wants to, but we have ample space, so we would, I mean, I can't imagine that would be a problem. You guys would decide how many spaces we need. We would work with your zoning people to make sure you guys are okay with it. And from my point of view, the more parking, the better, especially with our spot. It's not limited in any way.
Yeah, I'll chime in. We went for a conceptual site plan in order to come up with the renderings. We currently have, we're able to put a 9,000 square foot building. Obviously, the dispensary will only be closer to about 4,000 square feet. Again, I've got site plans. This is small. We would get one more to scale so you guys could read it. But this is where we started, get a conceptual plan, we did a topographical study, make sure that the property will work for what we're looking for.
Why'd you choose Lopat? Is it because of accessibility, Route 22?
Well, I was born in Easton, so I'm familiar with this area,
Right.
and I feel very comfortable operating here. So we expanded from the from the nurse wellness business. We expanded from Cherry Hill up into Bethlehem and Easton here. And so again, just going back to the familiarity with the area, we found this great spot in Lopat, and yeah, just combination of me feeling comfortable, the actual physical location being great, and then our ability to develop it. It just comes back to comfortability. I feel comfortable operating here. I know some people locally. I grew up going to the Peaburg Mall, so for me, it's really about comfort. Like to just, I have the opportunity to maybe do this down in the Cherry Hill area, and I don't feel familiar. I don't know the area. I know that if we put something on the side of 22 there, where we bought that property, it would not be a public nuisance. It would be really a win-win for the community and the township and myself. I think it would just be a great place. Just
How does that, as far as being competitive with Main Street Peaburg?
different businesses. So we're selling. On Main Street, we're selling CBD products. There is.
You're on Main Street also?
I'm sorry, Main Street. No, I'm sorry. We're in Main Street, Bethlehem, as a
Right.
nurse wellness CBD store.
Right.
We have nothing. We're not affiliated with the Main Street in Peaburg.
Okay.
That being closed, that's not gonna bother you.
Gotcha. No.
Should
Again,
factor that in.
yeah. Again, coming from Southern California, where it's much more saturated, and even down in Cherry Hill, where we also are right now, there's dispensaries literally next to each other. So I look at it more like a bar, just because Buffalo Wild Wings opens. That's not going to deter a TGI Fridays or something from opening down the street. There's more than enough people, revenue I'm not concerned about that. I mean, would I want Lopat to award 10 licenses? No, I think that there's a happy medium, but I'm not concerned with Main Street in Phillipsburg, and I know that there's one opening up in Greenwich, and I don't think that will negatively affect us at all. I think it will just bring more awareness. And something I didn't touch on, which might be relevant, is our business model with our CBD company is just having the best products at the best price with a guarantee on that, and then also having really knowledgeable people. So I think we'll be able to, I don't want to say run circles around, but we'll be able to hold our own, against anybody and build up a good, following and repeat business model. Not concerned with the competition.
So say you get a approval from the board, how long are you looking at before it will be operational?
I mean, if you want to jump in, I think it would just depend on how fast you can move. We are in the position where we do have
I mean, you have to build and everything, is that right? So
Yeah, that
a
would,
year.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the process of going back to the CRC to get the conversion to the annual license, that process is typically, a few months max. So it would really depend on the requirements that the township adopts in their ordinance.
I think we could build a building and get it up and running in 6 to 8 months, if everything moves smoothly.
The reason why I mentioned the parking is because the common theme on Main Street in Phillipsburg is the parking and the
Right.
congestion there that we hear about all the time. It's not our town, but even when I drive through there, it's,
Yes,
so I would want that parking to be much more ample, you know what I mean? To get people to park in there so that those cars aren't out on that highway. And I don't know, will there be like a line like there is in Phillipsburg outside of your
so,
building? Did you
so
do
yeah,
like a survey?
I know what you mean. That's quite something what they have going on there. That is definitely what we would avoid, like going back to nuisance, public nuisance. I think that we could build out a site where people would drive in, like I was kind of, I'm not the best public speaker, but we know what we're doing with cannabis here, but yeah, people would be able to drive in. There wouldn't be any sort of bottleneck. They would drive in, they would come in. We would have, I think the one in Phillips on Main Street has 5 checkout counters. You would want more like 10 or 12 to just keep the flow moving. What happens on Main Street in Phillipsburg, just my 2 cents, is they don't have enough registers. So then you have people waiting in line and then obviously parking too. So you have people coming in and there's a delay.
And they're filtered out into the street. I mean, not in the street, onto
Yeah.
the sidewalk. Will that be like that for you, like in your other businesses in Cherry Hill? And is there lines like that, or is there?
No,
Is there space inside the building for people to stand, or is not allowed?
Yeah, so when people come in, we do like to have that one-on-one experience. So if there's nobody there, people do walk around. But in the setting that you're talking about, somebody would come into this building. They would enter a line while they're getting ID checked, and they would basically enter a queue. And then there would be a separate area where you would actually buy the product and purchase it. So people in the queue would be waiting to come in until there's somebody available to serve them. And then they would be let out, kind of like a flow. They would come in the front door, wait, go in the main area, purchase the product, go out the back door. So it's kind of like that in Main Street, but not really. Like just for generality, you would kind of go in on the right side, wait, go in the middle section, make your purchase, go out on the left and exit. And
So your other places, like the one in Bethel
Yeah.
and Cherry Hill, is it like that?
no, nothing is, no.
No line outside the establishment?
No line outside and no problems with parking. Like, yeah, that's a liability nightmare from an insurance standpoint. Like, I can't imagine how they do that.
I just think it's unsightly, and I don't want that to be
Right.
here.
No, I'm not articulating myself the best, but no, that would not be an issue. The whole point of this is, and New Jersey does a good job of requiring it. When somebody orders something, they get it in the sealed container, and as long as, like you're saying, they have the parking and people there's no bottlenecks. I think that's the issue. People get bottlenecked in Main Street because there's no parking or there's only 5 registers, but I don't know, we don't have any issues with that, do we?
Yeah, I mean, in most of the, like Cherry Hill area where even where it is more saturated, it's not a constant line going out the door, and most of the dispensaries do have that kind of like queue waiting line where, you can be in line, still see some stuff, but then you're gonna get filtered in, helped out. And with the property that we have here, there's definitely gonna be enough room for parking that however many spaces that you deem is appropriate for us to have, we should be able to meet that.
When I've, driven down Main Street, and any time of the day, I would see 20 people in line.
Yeah.
Coming down the stairs, going right back to the parking lot. So that tells me either they're only allowing, a couple people at a time, right?
Yeah.
And then the next couple moves in. It won't be anything like that.
Right, yeah, we're hoping to have a much,
Smoother operation.
yes.
Let me interject again. We've got, our current site plan has 50 parking spots laid
Huh.
out. So based on my understanding, the state of New Jersey has a car flow plan of 124 cars per hour for a dispenser. That's the parking that we need to be able to maintain. So based on our 50 spots, based on how the current site plan is laid out, we fully expect to be able to handle that 124 cars per hour that's required by the state. And we're not asking for any zoning exemptions, any type of zoning variances. Again, our current plan, this is an awesome property that we can lay out a building to be able to handle the flow of cars in addition to handling the flow of people.
And how many people would be permitted inside the building at any given time?
So.
That you don't know yet.
Well, yeah, that would be, it depend on the square feet occupied,
Right.
but,
And also, I just want to let you guys know, this is initial in the process, so this is going to go through a whole site plan,
Right.
land use board, where all these will be nailed down.
but to give you,
Just so you know.
Right.
to give you an idea, I think the Phillipsburg Main Street location, they have 5 checkouts and they allow 20 people on top of that inside. So they have 25 people, 25 customers inside. After that, there would be overflow into the street, which is probably what you see.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so our location is much bigger, so that would allow us to have anybody waiting would be waiting inside. And like I said, once they got their product, they would be going. We don't have they would not be waiting around or hanging out. And the reason I keep saying that is because that sometimes does happen in Phillipsburg, so.
Jim, you have anything? No. Right, do you feel like that there's any questions from the?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Mike? Mr. Bruce?
I believe you're aware of the Greenwich location, right?
Partly, yes.
You're aware that allegedly there's going to be drive-through there.
I haven't looked that much into it, but
You're not proposing drive-through.
we haven't got there with the township. If that's something they would allow us, we might do it. Again, this is kind of the first, we want to get approved. So if they don't want us to have a drive-through, we're not gonna have a drive-through.
Okay. Can you, is there any law in the state of New Jersey, you have to be, have a driver's license, you have to be over 21, you have to show? What about a commercial driver's license? Are you allowed to sell to a trucker with a commercial driver's license?
Well, yeah, we are, we would not recommend it because they get drug tested.
Would the township be able to restrict that? Yeah? I don't believe so.
I don't think so, it's a state law, right? Yeah.
That's something else.
No different than selling alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. If there's other questions, I'll come back.
Anyone else?
Mike,
Chief?
I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jason Garcia. I'm the chief of police here in town. I'd offer my assistance to sit down with you and discuss any needs that you might have looking forward and what type of experiences you have with your other businesses, what we can expect.
Great.
I'll give you my contact information before you.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Okay, well, we'll talk about it and, what's our next move then? Talk about it and.
Talk about it, and then the next step would be to opt in our ordinance and design an ordinance that the township's comfortable with. If that's what we're gonna do.
Mr. Bruce?
Do you have any projection on sales, like by looking at what you have with your charitable business and given the scarcity of locations in Warren County? From my understanding, besides the Phillipsburg Main Street location, there's one in Flemington. As far as I know, those are the only 2 locations, and that's why Phillipsburg is jam. So I'm just wondering how much money the town would be able to get. And is it 2%? Because I thought Main Street Apothecary was imposing more than that, or is that subject to statute? It's.
A maximum of
low.
2% is the transfer tax, the sales.
Okay, I
Tax
thought
on sales.
apothecary was higher than 2, maybe I'm mistaken.
It does go on top of the existing state sales tax.
Right,
so
right. Right, okay. And it would be cash or debit business?
Yep.
Okay. And,
And to give you an idea on projections, I'm hesitant to do that because then if I'm wrong, but I think that this is going to do a lot of business. Like I
can you
said,
tell us what you're doing in Cherry Hill?
yeah, sure. I own a CBD business, so we're selling CBD and all sorts of wellness
But
products.
no THC.
We sell THC, but not from marijuana plants. It's hemp derived.
Okay.
So all of our products are hemp derived, and so we're selling THC, CBD, mushrooms, spices, herbs, all types of additional wellness products.
Okay, what's 2% of what your sales are there?
Where are we doing, 4 million a year there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're not comparable. The cannabis industry is a lot. I'm hesitant to throw out numbers, but what I would like to do is my contact information is on the bottom here. I would be more than willing to put some projections. We had some in here and I pulled them just because I didn't want to talk numbers, but I think that, I mean, can I guess here, like several $100,000, if not more. I think that this is,
Yeah, no, I understand it's hard for you to make that.
The numbers they'll finalize as,
yeah, I
find out in
mean,
the first year what it's like.
I would, and I think that it will, one thing though, I think that it's instant impact. I think that it's not going to take a year to grow and people to learn about us. I think that we could do a lot of prep and marketing and really just hit the ground running and be busy the day we're open. And yeah, going back to that, I think it besides our community involvement and engagement, the transfer tax, which I'll recommend. I think you guys should do 2%. You could do 1, but I think you should do 2.
Yeah.
And,
Do 3.
I think, can we get them some projections to give them a ballpark?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, good.
All right.
Anything else? We'll have Wade get what's
Thank
saying.
you, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming in. You can hang or you can leave. You don't have to hang here. I'm sure you got better things. Okay, public comment, agenda items only. Anyone? Agenda item only? Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda business, agenda 1 through 4. I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
President Polito.
Yes.
Mayor Eklund.
Yes. All right, we have announcement, special meeting, January 29th, 2025 at 6 PM. That's for our COA, and we'll have that quick meeting.
Okay.
Payment of bills. I get a motion in a second?
Motion. Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Council President Polito.
Yes.
Mayor Wright.
Yes. Chief, you want to give a report for?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So the only thing I have is the traffic report since I wasn't able to make the earlier meeting this month. But for December, we had a total of 254 traffic stops. 44% of those that were stopped were given motor vehicle summonses, and 43% of those given motor vehicle summonses were overweight tractor-trailer drivers. And again, we're able to dedicate an extra 80 hours of dedicated patrols to that enforcement.
Nice. Very good.
That's my report.
Has there been a reduction in the truck going through our area?
It's really sporadic. It's,
Is it?
yeah, so I'd like to say there was a reduction, but I haven't, it's hard to pinpoint exactly when they're coming and going from the town, but it's very sporadic, I would say. So
Okay.
I think it's pretty consistent yet, though.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Public comment. Mr. Betts.
I've just got a list of 3 things I want to mention, which should be spoken about. The rent rolls are from our landlord are due on January 10th to the township.
We have a meeting tomorrow night,
Okay.
okay?
Yes.
So we could go through all that
Yes,
tomorrow
all
night.
right, good. But there's a one more pressing one tonight for, which out of this list, and there's paper notifications in the lease that aren't being done, but that's another issue, but there's one pressing issue here today. Building Y and Building Z have been out of heat now for 4 days. I called the Warren County Health Department, spoke to a woman named Donna. With the ordinance, it reads, every owner of a dwelling who permits to be occupied in a dwelling or unit and lodging herein under the agreement expressed or implied is to supply or furnish heat to the occupant thereof shall supply heat adequate to maintain the minimum inside temperature in all habitable rooms, bathrooms, and water closet compartments of 68 degrees Fahrenheit between the hours of 6 a.m. and 11 p.m., 65 degrees Fahrenheit between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. from October 1st each year to the next succeeding May 15th. In absence of a contract or agreement, on the contrary, the owner and owners shall be obligated to provide heat, whatever heating facilities are under the control of the owner, or whenever 2 or more dwelling units or lodging units are heated by common facility. The provisions of this chapter will be enforced by the Warren County Board of Health or the zoning officer of the Township of Lopatcong or another agent so designated by Township Council.
You say you called the,
We called.
Warren County?
Warren County Board of Health, and I called over here.
did they come down, Warren County?
I don't know, not to my knowledge. They didn't come to me when they came.
That is a county board of health
Yeah.
concern. They should be on top of that. I mean, we can follow up with them.
So then what is this zoning officer of the Township of Lopatcong? What does that have to do with the ordinance? It's in the ordinance. That's, I just want to mention that.
I mean,
He's only here on Tuesday, so that's better to go to the county.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, very good.
All right, well, let us know. I mean, let Beth know if they don't have heat, something's
Yeah,
gotta get
call
done.
back.
It's ridiculous.
He did call, we checked with Scott Schofield, our construction
Yeah.
people, who couldn't respond and told us that it was Warren County Health. We called John, let him know, and he did call the health department, so.
Okay, if you could follow up tomorrow, John, or Beth, follow up. I mean, you can't let, 2 coldest days of the year
And it
right now.
happens in a lot of our buildings.
Yeah.
Over the winter. And
What
actually,
happened last year? No hot water, right?
Yeah, and it's been, this year on my particular building, there have been times when it's gone down to 60 degrees at other times. Just at this time, I got a call from a woman in Y1 who said her apartment was cold, so I ventured against the whole building. And it was down to 63.
All right, we'll check on that tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
Thank you.
John.
Thanks a lot.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none, motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.